Hi, I'm Michael Lafosse from the Origami studio, and this is my Flying Fox glider, the full-length nose version and the snub nose version. We're going to fold the full-length nose version. The snub nose is easy to accomplish at step 22 in the diagrams. You can make smaller ones out of the standard 15 centimeter square origami paper, and those fly very well. They take more of a degree of skill to fold. We're going to use the larger so-called 10-inch origami paper to make a model this size. It has a nose lock and the appearance of a cockpit, and there are some very interesting maneuvers a little later on. You can always pause and play using the features of your video player to be able to review any of the folds. This is a longer model and more complex. Let's begin with the color side up if using standard origami paper, and fold in half, bottom edge to top edge. Now unfold and rotate the paper 90 degrees so the crease that you've just made is vertical. And once again, bottom edge to top edge, and fold. Now open. You have crossing creases. We're going to take the bottom right and left corners and one at a time fold them carefully to meet at the center of the paper. What we're going to be doing for the first few steps from here, we'll be putting in what we call pre-creases. It's sort of an architectural folding plan to make a more complex fold more simple. Next step, take this white triangle and bring it up in front. We're going to turn the paper over left to right, keeping this bottom folded edge at the bottom. Now we're going to take these right and left bottom corners and move them to the middle of the top edge, one at a time. And the other to match. Now, we return these corners to the bottom and bring this rectangular flap down to the bottom. Your paper should look like this. Let's turn the paper over now, top to bottom. And we're going to put in some angled pre-creases. This is the step where we're going to be preparing the paper for that more complex fold a little later on. Let's begin by taking this bottom right 45-degree angled edge and fold it to the horizontal crease above. We only need to go from this outside corner down to the center line of the paper. Unfold. Here's the crease, a valley crease running to the center at that angle. Let's go ahead and do the same thing over here. This 45-degree angle edge is moved to the horizontal crease. And we have another one. If your crease goes beyond, it's perfectly okay. We're going to take these same 45-degree angle folded edges, and one at a time we're going to bring them to the center vertical crease to match. It's a good idea to take your paper and rotate it so you can see and control your work better. Now once again, we don't have to fold all the way. In fact, from the nose to right about here, where you can see this line would intersect that corner. Open, and there's your crease. Let's do the same thing on the other side. The folded edge to the same crease. And you only need to crease up to here. And open. Now our pre-creasing is done and we're going to accomplish a very interesting three-dimensional maneuver. Notice these areas of flat triangle paper and the areas just below toward the table. We're going to bring those together and let the corners from the layers underneath come out. Here's what it looks like from the top view. We've used these left and right valley creases to make that happen. Now we're going to take the horizontal mountain crease and have everything go behind. I want you to see what it looks like on the back side. It's very three-dimensional. Let's go back to the front where we're actually going to be doing the work. Now we can easily use these two valley creases and bring these layers right over front and flatten everything down. Be sure to let these triangle flaps come out in front. So that three-dimensional thing was accomplished by all that pre-creasing work. Now we're going to bring the top edges of this white paper area in to the vertical center, here and there. There are creases there already which help guide the shape. Now let's rotate the paper 180 degrees, and we're going to take these flaps and move them straight out from the center. I would like to point out some landmarks. One landmark is this V-notch right here, where the paper comes down and is intersected by the folded edge that comes up. And another one would be right about here at the center. Imagine a straight line, a 180-degree line coming across. We're going to bring the flap out from that center through the V-notch, and you would form a right angle isosceles triangle there. Let's do the same thing with the other flap going the other way. Notice how I control the center first, bring the edge through the V-notch, and then make the crease. This is a pre-crease for an inside reverse fold. If we left the layers this way, they would actually flap around and not make a good flying airplane. What we really need to do is to lock them up. And you're going to go into this bottommost pocket to do the inside reverse fold. Notice that there's a layer on top and another one underneath. We're going to use the creases that are already in the paper, and we're going to inside reverse fold that same flap. See how that used the creases to come through the layers, reversing the creases and traveling inside the paper. Let's do the same thing on the other side. You can always pick up the paper, handle it any way that's comfortable for you as you accomplish these more elaborate forms like this. There we go. So you see the crease work that we've done before helps that shape. We're actually almost done. What we're going to do next is to make the vertical stabilizers, and they come from these bottom triangle flaps, which are folded each tightly over the cut edge of paper defining the wing. Notice how the bottom cut edges are aligned with each other as well. Now we can fold the whole model in half, and you can rotate the paper this way. We're folding it in half so that the work we've just done ends up on the inside. Incidentally, if you wanted to make the snub nose version, which is safer and actually flies better, at this stage you could take this corner and fold it in about there, and then fold. You'll see you'll have a snub nose. We're going to actually finish this particular example using the full length nose, now that you know how both can be done. And we're accomplishing the nose lock with these flaps. There are two layers together here. If you tightly fold those two layers over the nose, keeping them together, and then tuck them inside the pocket on one side of the nose, that's going to accomplish the nose lock for this model. Now let's set the wings. This full area from the nose all the way toward the back is to be moved down. You're going to have a stopping point in the paper here where the layers actually become more involved with each other. We're going to place the crease right through to the nose, through the stopping area, and then in a straight line toward the back. Now we can turn the paper over, whichever way is most comfortable for you, and fold the other wing to match. And it's the same set of restrictions. Now, let's go ahead and accomplish what I like to call the vertical stabilizing tail. Now, this step actually could be done at any time after folding the first wing. I've done both wings since we were working on talking about the wings, but I'd like you to see now that you could lift one wing up, and there's a thickness where the paper gets more involved down here, and you can see where there is the crease ending at the back. Take this tail flap and fold it up between those two points. Make a good sharp crease, fold it down. Now we can push this through. This is an inside reverse fold. The paper layers are going through. You're using the creases that you made as a guide, and then you can reset your wing. And there's this vertical stabilizing tail element. All that's left to do now is to set the wings out. Level wings work well for this model. You do not need a dihedral, but make sure that the level travels all the way through to the nose. There's an interesting set of control surfaces here. If you look at the back end of the vertical stabilizers, you'll see that they are actually little pockets that could be puffed open for a little bit more drag at the back end. It doesn't need this, but if you want the model to nose up more so that it climbs high, you can open these. And here it is, the Flying Fox. Remember the snub nose version or the full length version like this, and try them in different kinds of papers and sizes. Duo papers with two colors on involved actually make a great looking airplane. Enjoy.